So, hi everybody and welcome back. This is C++ tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 147, and in this video we continue again with our repetition of the keywords because we want to get better, and of course we just not repeat keywords, we extend our knowledge a little bit with the syntax, and I use again CPP reference com so that we learn a little bit using this documentation, and our goal is still the official documentation in C++ so that we can watch all ourselves in the future and to understand all these keywords and how to use it and why to use it and so on. All right, and like all time, I will read here one question. You can pause then the video, try to answer this one, because this is very important that you try before you see what I'm talking. I mean, how I'm solving this. And my solution is anyway not perfect, because I can't write here all the theory part in. That would take too long, so I make here just, let's say, an indication in the direction, and then I refer to this website here, where you can read the real answers. And yeah, I think we should start now, and let's go. So, question: which one is a keyword? And then we have here not, hot, got, lot, bot, shot. Try this one. And then it says here also explain the example code. So we will jump into this website here, and then we will explain the example code there. First of all, what is the keyword here? Have you figured it out? One of them is a keyword. Perhaps more, perhaps not, perhaps none of them, but one of them is a keyword indeed. And the keyword is not. This, I hope you figured this out. It's good. If not, no problem. Then you know it now that all the other ones are not a keyword. But the other ones are interesting too, is especially a bot. All right. So, and now it says here, explain the example code on the website. So let's jump to the website. Here are our keyword, because here are the keywords. Here we have our keyword not. So we found it. I click on it. We jump to this keyword side where it says not. And our job is now to explain. Here's only one little example, but this can cause problems for starters. Try to explain this code. Of course, you can try to copy this code and run in your code. Let's see. I think I copy this one fast. Copy this one, and then I go to my here, and then I paste. That was here on top, right? This namespace is, let's kick them out. It's just irritating. This was from last time. We don't need them. Let's paste here the example. All time, try not just to explain this example. Just try to do exactly what I do here. Just run these examples. Copy them into your code and run them, and then explain them, because then it's, or write them and then explain them, because important is that you get used to all this kind of stuff. I have no time here when I explain in this video all this kind of stuff. Let's say I can't write all this kind of stuff here, but you can write for exercise, for training, so that you get more used to it. And yeah, that's that should train you a little bit, not just your understanding, also how to write, type, and so on. All right, here I have it, and let's run this code. And when I run this code, it prints something out like this one. So it's not exactly this one, because here are a special Unicode missing. I have to load this anyhow, but let's skip this. I mean, this question marks is okay too. So I hope you run this one too on your code, and now let's try to explain this. So what we have here, first on top, and then the call here. This here in main is just the call, and the call is what? It is a function with no return type. Sorry. And then we have a parameter list here. Which parameter we have? We have a bool, we have a pointer to a const char, and we have a int. All right, and here on the bottom, our call is exactly providing us this kind of stuff. First of all, we need a bool, and we have here a not true, and you can see here this not keyword is used, and interesting is it is grayed out in my case, and probably is an indicator that there is an alternative, because normally you use not. Normally what you more see in programming, you will see this one in programming most time, this exclamation mark, because that's more common. And this alternative word, not in the C++, it's not common, but very important. Doesn't matter if it's common or not, we have to know it, because if you see this anywhere in the program, you won't understand the program without to, let's say, too much searching, what is that, and to be irritated and so on. So that is clear, I hope. Function here is clear. What is a const pointer again? To a char, I think that's also clear. We have a pointer, which is a const char, which means we should not change the char, right? All right, and then here, what we have here, that could be irritating a little bit for beginners, because it's again the presentation. So try to figure out this line. It's interesting because they packed again many things, not too difficult of course, but also irritating, because let's say I rewrite this and then you will understand this line very, very easy. So this one is a compact line. This one is, what is this here? A list initialization. And why it looks so complicated? Because we have not trained this so much, because most time what we did was const char pointer to R, and then we use this one here, and then it says here set equal true. This is that what we all time used, most time, or let's say, yeah, most time, not all time, but most time. And you can see this one here is exactly this one here. And if you don't believe me, let's start it and test it. And you can see it comes out the same thing. So, interesting is only here. What is that actually? Okay, we have figured out what I did. Okay, this one is this one. That means this part here is the initializer. We learned this with a variable declaration. I talked much about this. There are different kinds, and this one, what I used here, is what kind of initialization is that? That is a copy initialization. And one more word about initialization, which we should prefer, this one or this one. Yes, we should prefer normally this one here, because what was the reason why it was preferred over this one? There was the reason, I think, I forgot it. No, not really, but there was some, what was it again? You could not assign wrong things. For example, what was it again? I don't know the example now. I know only there was something which you can't assign here, and no, here you can assign it and here you can't assign it. I have to watch this example again, but important is only to know that this one is more type safe, this one not. All right, and we have not really talked about it, and the reason for that is because about this constructor. We have not talked about constructor. Later when we talked about constructor, when we learned classes and structs and all this kind of stuff, then we will understand types and assignments and all this kind of stuff are connected together, and that's why it's a little bit better. But in case here you have, let's go here, let's, when I talk so much, what was it here again? I don't know. Let's write here CPP reference initializer, initializer, here it is, and here it is, and here are this one, and what was the thing what I can't do? Let's go here to list initialization. Let me click on it. Here it is. Let me see an example so I can see it. They have definitely made an example where we can't something assign. And I'm right. I can't see it actually right now. Direct list initialization. Yes. Okay, I still don't know it. Okay, but what I know is there is something you can assign with copy initialization, which you can't assign with list initialization. I don't know the example. There is something. You check again where I talked about this one. I don't know myself the example right now. All right, but we continue. So let's continue. Okay, this one is the initializer. Let's see, what is this one here? I have not talked about this one. So about the expression. This one is our expression, but what is that? You remember this sign and this kind of stuff? It was our ternary operator this here. And the ternary operator is a shortcut more or less about if operator, which means if this set here, it's true, it will become this here, the first one before this colon here on the left side. If set is false, it will become this false side here. Not because it says here false, because it's all time here true and then it's all time here false. With this ternary operator. I hope you remember this. If not, no problem. Just repeat it. And I think now this line is clear. So this one looks a little bit, let's say for starters, not very easy, because you can hear irritated by this curly braces. Like I said, this curly braces is so much used in C++ for different kind of things. For example, is this now a block? For example, we can, if I wrote this one here, so that would even irritate more people, and it's possible. Look, this one now. Oops. Now it looks more like a block here. What I made, and then you say, this one is a block, and actually you see this. That's not true. It is more or less a block, but not like the block which we use in general to specify things here, because this one is just an initializer block, and that's a little bit different than the other blocks, let's say. So in general it is the same, but the use case, it's here, the indicator is different, let's say. So yeah, then we have this one. What is this here? Have you figured this one out? Actually, this one looks very strange, but it's very easy. What we have here, it is just a normal if and if statement condition. Here, the condition is true. So this one will run only if the condition is true. And this is again the shortcut. What means the shortcut? When you don't write this curly braces here, for example, I don't write this one here. Normally we write all time the curly braces, right? That's normal. So don't get irritated by the shortcuts, but we have to learn it. That's the same here. And when you have only one statement, then you can omit this. We learned this. Then you can write something like that. And and their demonstration is they put it not in this line, because you can put it in the same line as well. And this one is also no error. You see, I have not even here a space, and if I press here without space, that will run also. So you can see we can make here real strange codes, strange looking codes actually. But when we get used to this kind of stuff, then it will be easier. So next part, this one looks also interesting. Actually, it's the same like the first one which I explained. It's again the shortcut. It's a condition. Here we have a equal sign, here we have a equal less sign, and here we have again an equal sign. And yeah, and then we have here, this one looks only so strange. Let's make here a little bit space, then it's easier to see actually what happens. It is just formatting. This kind of stuff is just for formatting. Normally when I start this one here, I have here question marks because I have not the code, the Unicode to translate this kind of symbols here. For example, this kind. Let's see if I can make here. Yes, you can. Control Z. You can select some and then you can delete some. I don't know how much you can delete here. But this one is a special symbol in ASCII chart, and then you have, it must be support. So if your code is supporting that, then it will print out this way. If not, in my case, I have not loaded this conversion here, this ISO whatever, and that's why it looks with question mark on my side. So with that said, this one is just formatting. You can see I print here out this sign, and then I print R. R is my const char here, and I think it's general easy, right? It looks only so really complicated, but it's not so complicated. It's just all that what we do, and it's very compact. They made it very, very compact. You see the code looks very, yes, very less, but in real they packed here many things together, so they don't waste too much time, because if we would make this, we would write here a little bit more, let's say, curly braces to make it more visible. But this one looks also very nice if you get used to it. It's very simple. It looks very simple. When you get used to it, this is also nice. All right, I think I talked here again much. Let's go to the next. All right, this one is done. 53. What is the alternative keyword for that? You know, this sign here. The alternative keyword is, what is that? Not equal. So this one, this is the answer. That should be it. I hope it. And we test it. We go here to our keywords, and in not equal, indeed, I have it here. I click on it, and here in not equal, we have here again an example, and it's exactly the same what I explained before. Similar, let's say not exactly, because now we have not equal here. So the only thing what it's changed is actually the call here. And that's why we have this output here. I have not talked about the output, by the way. Why we have here not true and false and not false and true. Because our point was not to talk about the not. Yes, the not means here, sorry for that. Here in the other example, the not means just you make the opposite of the bool value what you have. For example, if you have true, not means this opposite, which means here in true becomes false, and not false becomes true, and that's why we have this output here. And I think that's okay, that's clear now, right? So S will be replaced. S is our const char here. This not true is our here, that's here. And R is what? R is our evaluated expression. Expression was this ternary operator. Ternary operator takes the bool here. It checks what was given here, if it was true. In this case, the first example, it says not true, which means it was given false, and that's why we have here false. And the other works exactly the same. And I think that I forgot there to mention the output. And here in not equal, you can see exactly the same table here on top. I talked about it. And the only thing what is changed here is actually the call. And let's talk about the call here. So you can see here, again, we have our function show. It takes again here this line, which I explained right now. And the only difference is this here, this bool set here. You can see the bool set here, this one, what you see here is actually, what is that here? It says here false, not equal, false, which this one here itself is a, yes, we can say an expression or a comparison. Because why we can say that? Because you can see what happens here. It is evaluated as a this here is evaluated, and all kind of what is evaluated will be an expression, but it also a comparison. Why is this a comparison? Because we use here the not equal operator, which is a comparison. So you compare this one with this one, and then you get a return value, which is in this case, what is that? False. Not equal false is false. It's false. And why this is false? Why it's not true? Because they should be only they should be not equal. Then this here would be true. the whole expression here, but they are equal right now, and that's why we get a return value false here on the first call here. Only if they are not equal, so this side must be not equal with this side, then it would be true. And on the second here, you can see exactly that happens here. So they say here false is not equal true, and that becomes true. And what is the number? I have not talked about this number here, and that means just what? Let's see, what is the number? Where is the number used? Yes, here the number is used only in the middle part here, because n must be 0 and n must be 2. So you can only use here n if this number is 1 and 1 here, for example, only in this middle part, and 0 and 2, 0 on top, and 2 on this part. So I think you get this, right? And it's not too difficult. You can try the other ones too, why this one is true, easy, the same rule, and why true is false. I hope you learned these tables a little bit with or and so some of the tables. If you know these tables, this kind of stuff is very easy, because this is just a comparison operator, and we use that, I think, a lot in if statements, especially in if statements. Or you can see this one is not an if statement, but it's similar, it's a ternary operator, which is similar to an if statement. Like I said, a shortcut for it checks just the first value if it's true or false, and then it will print out the first one here, or after the second semicolon comes the false one. But careful, it must be not say here true, false. It must be, can be anything here. So let's go on. I think that was okay. Let's go to the next one. 54. It says here, what is a null PTR? All right, and write alternative keywords. Okay, first of all, what is a null PTR? You know that? Yes. I write here something like, let's see what I can write. A null PTR is just yes, with a null pointer, null PTR is used. Let's write this. So null PTR is used to set a pointer to not to an object. Yes, null pointer is used to set a pointer. Or let's write it more like what I want to point out. What I want to say is a null pointer is just not set. Let's write it so other way. If a pointer is not set, then you should use null PTR. That's more it, because we have talked about pointer, but in this case we're talking about let's say when the pointer is not set, it's not pointing to an object, right? And then you should use null pointer, because this is an indicator that this pointer is not used right now or set to a specific place, and that's very important. Now that's enough. We will read anyway a little bit the official declaration in a moment. And then here, write alternative keywords. Do you know alternative keywords about this one? We talked about this. First of all, we know there are alternatives. Yeah, we know this, but that sentence or that question here is not right. We know there are alternatives for this null pointer. What are the alternatives? You can write here alternatives, which is null and 0. These are alternatives. You should know them both. But this question has a mistake here. And what is the mistake? Write alternative keywords. Actually, these are not keywords. So if you want to answer this question, you have to say there are no keywords alternatives, but there are alternatives. These are not keywords. The only keyword is null PTR. This one is a keyword. So we can say, yeah, null PTR is the only keyword, and these are not keywords. But the funny part is they are more or less similar, like this one has a similar function. So we have to talk a little bit more about this one. Let's go here to our site. Let's go to Null Pointer. Where are we? We go more and more. We are finishing more and more. We are soon finished with our repetition, but it takes a little bit. Here is the null pointer literal actually. And here we can see explanation. Yes, and so on. But important is they are not actually explaining it here very much. Okay. All right, they are not. Here on the bottom and the examples, they are showing something interesting. Here, these are the alternatives. You can see you can use this null and 0 in this example, and then we have here something strange. The other one gives an error, and this one works anyhow. But we have not talked about templates. That's why we are not watching this example here. But we talk a little bit about null and null PTR. So, okay, null is not a keyword. That's okay. And 0, we know what 0 is. I hope you know what 0 is. 0 is an integer, right? Or let's say not even an integer. That's not true, sorry. 0 is just a literal, which is used in C++, and it's just a number. So in this case, it's not even an integer, right? But when we use 0, it is most time used as an int. That's interesting. So, and here, null, this one is even special. We have never talked about this one. Null is even a macro. We have never talked about a macro. Macro is very simple. Let me show you this one. Let's go to our example here. It's not simple, I mean simple to show. But here, let's make here a pointer. Let's make here a pointer, my pointer, int my pointer. We call it my pointer. And here, when you initialize a pointer, that's also a good example. If you don't know at this point where you want that your pointer is pointing to anything, then what you have to do again? Yes, you have to use the null PTR. Null PTR, because that is exactly that what we learned. If you don't know, but of course if you know what you want point to, you can initialize it directly. Then of course this one here is possible, like I showed you. Copy this one here. Let's go here and make here 1 and make here 2. And delete all the other things here fast for this demonstration, because we should not get irritated. So what we have here is now we can write here null, and you see this one will work, and we can write here 0. And here, let's start this. Let's check this if this works. All right, it works. That's good. But here you see a strange color here. And this is in Visual Studio. I indicated that this one is a macro. And when I go here and click on this macro, right click and here peak definition, and you can see we have not see this one. A macro is something like this one. We have here this define. This one is even a preprocessor. Also, we will talk about this one later. Sometimes you see in codes this define, if define. Let me make this a little bit higher. And this kind of stuff is most time on top, but it was not all time. And here, where was it? Oh no, I kicked it away. Let's go again. Yeah, peak definition here. And actually you can see this null here is 0. Okay, we have not talked about it, but what it means is this one will be used for this one. That's this defined meaning here. Use the 0. So in our now use the 0 as null, and we can use now in our code null to write the 0. So you can see this both here are actually the same. Okay, that's it. But let's check here a little bit more about the types and how we can check the types again. Yes, we can press here. We can press here this debug symbol here. We can start. And now we have here a pointer. Oh, that's bad. That's, oh, I check here the type. That's what I want to check, this type here actually. Okay, that's still okay. Still okay. Let's see how it is assigning it at least. What we see here is we see nothing. Actually, that's also interesting. Yeah, let's skip this. What you have to know, let me say it this way then. All right, what you have to know is the problem about here, what I want to point out and I could not show you is, the question is more like why we have here 3 versions, right? So what was I talked already about in this tutorial about it. The reason for that is this one here is the older version, and the older version used this 0 and null, and I showed you that null is exactly this one here, and they wanted to make it a little bit more specific, but this older version caused problems. And the problems with this older version is that they can be confused with integer, because this literal here is later an integer and this one not. So later when you use, for example, pointer, and it is returning, for example, a null ptr, you know this one is not a type which you can accidentally use. What I mean with that is if you have here a program and it can return, let's say you use a pointer like this one here, this here, but it is indeed returning an integer and with a value of 0, then you can say, is this now okay? Is this something assigned or not assigned? Can be irritating, and there are many other things what can happen too, and this irritation caused problems, and that's why they said, okay, we solve this problem. We make a special keyword for null pointer. If a pointer is assigned to this one here, there is no irritation, there is no conversion, and there is not all these problems what all the people complained about this, and that's why this one is the newest version, and you should use most time this one here. But read this a little bit more in detail if you want to know what to use. But I would use this one here because it makes absolute clear. You should not use this one. It means just it's not assigned. And later in complicated return structs and all it becomes complicated with all these return values and type values and whatever. This one, it's then very easy to identify. Instead of using a 0 where you still ask, is this now an integer or is this now just a not assigned pointer, or what is it now? Right, something like that. Read this online a little bit on the documentation. I talked also in the tutorial a little bit about this one. I think I made even a better example than this one here there. But yeah, that's very important, but actually very easy when you use the first one. As a starter, just use this one. But of course, you should know this one here because there are many programmers who are using this one and this one, which means you should not be irritated. You have to check this one and we have to know this one. All right, I think that's also enough for this one. And we have this one here. Let's go to 55. It says here, what is keyword or? Well, then it says here, write an alternative and write an example code on your own. All right, try that. So what is keyword or? Or this. What was or again? Do you know it? I don't know it. I know it, but I show you the example here. What it is. I want to show you this one here. This example here again directly. You can see we have talked about this not equal. That was this not, and now we have or. But careful, here it says or, and here it says not equal, and here it says not. Are this the same? That's the question here. Is that the same? This or is right to answer this one. Is this and this and this the same. So you have here not, and then they use the same example here. Then you have here not equal, they use here the same example. And you have here or, they use here the same example, or I mean here at least the code, the function. Is this the same? We can see here this one, let's see, I show you what I mean. Is this the same when I find it? What was it again? Let's write it is here reference the operator. Go here to CPV reference operator. And we are, that was the wrong place. Oh no. Not the wrong place. Here, yes, I want to show you this one. And here you can see, but first let's answer the question. What is the keyword or? And write an alternative. What is the alternative for or? Have you wrote it already? And the or is, where is the or alternative? I don't know it. I'm blind again, like all time. Where is or? Here's or. Now I see it. Here's or. All right. We are here in logical operator, and that's why I pointed out if they are the same. And actually, when you watch this one now, they are not the same. Even they used here all time the same example. It says here not equal. Where are the operators again? Of course, I have used here this one. This not equal is not here. Where is this not equal? What was not equal again? Here. It is a comparison operator. This one is a logical operator. And or we have here, we have and here. Let's see what we have here else. Or was this not equal? Was this not? Was this? And now, yeah, this is just the null pointer. That's not what we talked about it. Yeah, but in this case, you have also distinguished about this operators a little bit. And a little bit irritating was that they used all time the same here, but these operators are not the real same, let's say, functionality, right? We have here logical, and here we have comparison, and they behave a little bit different. Even they are operators which are used in the same example here, right? So keep look over a little bit and think about it, what I mean this, but very simple. This is logical and this is comparison. You should distinguish this a little bit here, because later we will see this or here. We have here something like an assignment operator. We have not talked about this one here, but this one is also interesting, or equal, or something like that, and or and equal. And then we have to distinguish about this, and see what this is, but a little bit more later when we learn this kind of stuff. Not too difficult, they are just operators, so you have just to know what the operators are, and not like me who are searching what is that and this. So let's say, what is the keyword or? Let's say comparison operator, comparison operator. And what is the alternative? Let's say this one, we saw it, this one here. Looks a little bit strange, this stuff will hide. And write an example. Okay, now we have to write an example ourselves. Okay, let's jump to our main. Let's write an example. Let's get this one. Let's make a very simple example. I write here bool, my true bool. I write here true bool, and I set it to true by default. Oops, true. And I write again a bool. I say false bool. Very creative example here. That's so creative. And then I say, okay, if true bool or false bool are one of them, what I can do now. And if I use the shortcut when I have only one statement, std print out, for example, what can we print out? It worked. You see, that's already a very simple example, not very creative. And here I use not the curly braces because we have here only one statement. We should get used to it, but I will still use the curly braces because I like write more. Even without the curly braces is shorter and normally a little bit more favorable for many programmers, because many programmers don't like write. I like it because I like the scope here later, because when I have to figure out, here is nested, this is this scope, and it's not irritating. The other one is also actually not irritating as well if you get used to, but as a beginner, let's write it this way. And then you start this one and you can see this one, very simple. It worked, yes. I used a very simple OR. And of course, what I can do here, you can see I have used this OR keyword, but of course I can use, this one is more the case, what you will see. This is the thing what you should know, because they write not OR so much, they write all time this alternative, and it worked as well. So I hope you wrote also an example, a better example than mine perhaps, because this one is not very creative, but it is an example, right? We said we write just an example here. We said not that I should be a super creative example. All right, so I think that's one working too. We understand this, and let's go. Important is that you write an example as an, yes, as a learner, right? You want to learn this, you want to train this, you want to understand this. And we make this also for training. So repeating, training to get better. So let me not just write an example here, write an example as well. I hope you make this. I hope you pause the video and try it really, because you get better and better with that. So let's see, what is the next one here? What means keyword? I think we can make here a break. Let's see if this, yes, we can make here a break. So I know I'm here on this last column here, because we finished here all this one and this one, which we know. Of course, there are many other keywords which we don't know, and so, but we are here, and then we will learn here some more, and then we are finished with our repetition soon, and some videos, some more videos, and then that's it. So I think I make here, that was the OR which we have. So here a break, and like all time, if you have any questions, any complaints, any tips and tricks, write them in the comments. Will help me, will help others, will help, yeah, will help probably you too if I answer them. And with that said, I hope that you learned more than me. And yeah, good luck, bye, and see you in the next.